God.
We'll call this meeting to order and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do you do roll call?
Douglas Wisdom,
Here.
Daniel Rodriguez,
Here.
Robert Siebert,
Here.
Robert Smith,
Here.
Jim Bowen is not present, Don Martin,
Here.
Rick Swats,
Here.
Charles Brinkley, and Keith Dennis is not present. Hal Barton,
Here.
and Hildy, are you online?
I'm online.
Hildy is online.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. I'm glad you're here. I only see one person in the audience. Do we have a call to public to speak? So with nobody to speak, I guess we can move right on to the official business. Under item 1, old business, discussion and possible action regarding the approval of the December 13th, 2018 Public Lands and Recreation meeting minutes.
So moved.
I second.
Got a motion and it's been seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? None. Motion carries. Item 2 is a discussion and possible action regarding the review of the updated information regarding the Kingman Field Office of Bureau Land Management Travel Management Plan and postponement of work on the travel management plan, in that no further work will be conducted until further guidance is presented from the Washington office. And what promoted that, I have the information here. I've been working with our club out with BLM field office with Matt and Robert quite a bit. And I asked Matt for an update to bring back to this commission, and so that we could make advice to the board, obviously. And Amanda Dobson, who is the field manager of the Kingman Field Office, emailed me back on March 21st, 2019. It says, "Good morning, Bob. Currently, the BLM Arizona Kingman Field Office has paused work on the Kingman Travel Management Plan efforts. BLM Arizona is currently working with our Washington office to determine the transportation plan guidance that will better assist the office in the field in the working through these efforts. Until we have further guidance, no further work will be conducted by the field office on these plans. However, the BLM Kingman Field Office is still accepting comments related to the travel management planning efforts, should you choose to submit them." And then she goes on, "Thank you for your patience and participation in this planning effort, and we're looking forward to working with you on this process in the future." And when I got that, I just about fell over. I thought that was the best news for all of us, for everybody that worked so hard to get this to this level, and it really does prove that they did listen to us. Any comments?
Chair Smith, if I may, is one comment I have is I don't still see where they've posted this on their website. And also in addition, that Mojave County here, we have yet to receive anything in writing from them.
Yeah, I passed this on to Supervisor Angus, and this forwarded this email to her, so she does have that. I can also forward it to everybody on the commission and yourself if.
But here again, Chairman Smith, is that it would be nice to have the BLM actually send us an actual letter stating this, because here again, this is just a comment that the field office manager has sent to yourself, but not to the Public Lands Commission and not to the Board of Supervisors.
Okay, I can make that request if you'd like. I will get a hold of Amanda and see if we can get a formal letter to the commission as well as copy it to the Board of Supervisors.
That'd be great.
Okay. Any further discussion on this matter?
Did they give a time frame?
They have no time frame, no, as usual.
Do we know if this is only affecting Kingman or the travel management plan locally, or what's, if there's any more information available?
Supervisor Angus, can you comment on that with your trip back to Washington and some of the information you shared with me on that?
Well, can you all hear me? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, but not real well.
Okay. Hold
Talk loud.
Okay, can you hear me better?
That's better.
Okay. What I was thinking about the trip to Washington was not exactly this kind of realm. I was talking about a new committee that was being put together for trails and public recreation space, and that they had agreed to take up our issue as their first policy issue. And I've been working with them there. But as far as this goes, we found this out right when I got home. So am I understanding that you just think that we should get something in writing about this other than the letter that was sent to Bob Smith?
Yeah, I didn't catch a lot of that. It was hard to hear, but
What kind of confirmation does this commission want us to get? Do you want us to get it in writing from BLM locally, from the state, from Washington? What's the pleasure of the commission?
well, local would be good, but if we got it even at the state level, that would even be better, because then we would know where the whole state of Arizona stands for us.
Okay, so I can work with Hal Martin and Steve Lutowski, and we can go up the chain at BLM and get the confirmation, so at least everybody will be on the same page. How does that sound, Hal?
Supervisor Angus, that sounds fine. I just felt it was important that the Public Lands Recreation Commission had something in writing that also should go to the Board of Supervisors.
Yeah, okay, so to say that again, so when we get something in writing, it should go in front of the Board of Supervisors for acceptance?
Correct.
Okay, that sounds good. How does the board feel about that?
That sounds real good, yes.
Okay, so when we get something, we'll send it out to the commission, and if there's no, complaints or questions, or there might be questions or something, we can gather the questions. I don't know if we can do that outside a meeting. Can we do that, Hal?
That sounds fine.
Okay. Then,
Supervisor Angus, I'll work with Bob, Chairman Smith, and to secure a copy of a letter that would actually come to Mojave County and to attention to the Public Lands Recreation Commission for this submittal.
Okay, and we will get that from the different levels of BLM, and then we'll just we'll see how it goes. At least we will have something on record.
That sounds good. Thank you.
Chairman Smith?
Okay.
Could you forward that email? I don't know about everybody else, but I'd like to see the email. Could you do that, or Jenny, can you do that?
Chairman Smith, if you want to forward it to me, then I'll distribute it to the entire board.
Super.
Yes, I'll take care of that. Anything further on item 2? All right. We'll move on to new business. Item 3, discussion and possible action regarding amend the Public Lands and Recreation Commission bylaws to schedule commission meetings on a quarterly basis and refer the revised bylaws to the Board of Supervisors for consideration and approval. Do we have any discussion on that?
Chairman Smith, you may want to engage the commission on what brought this. And if you remember the conversation that you had with Supervisor Angus and myself, this was a discussion topic that we were just throwing out there. One of the reasons why we were considering this is with the lack of information that's coming from the BLM presently, having monthly meetings, there really was not enough information to bring this commission. However, it was a recommendation of yourself, Chairman Smith and Supervisor Angus. They did not want to remove the commission. So then that was the thought of, why don't we just go to quarterly meetings?
Yes, that was our discussion, and I agree with you. At this time, I don't know what we can do because we don't have any new information or any movement on this. And I do agree that to keep the commission active in case something comes up, then we already have the vehicle in place to handle it.
Chairman Smith, I would add this. I think that this group here should be able to address more than just this BLM issue. I personally know of a couple issues that will involve Mojave County and will ultimately, I think it's going to involve the Board of Supervisors. And I'll just throw one of them out for you, and they're going to be getting, if they haven't already, some information from groups that want to ban coyote hunting contest in Mojave County. It's already happened in 2 counties in Arizona so far. Coconino County and Yavapai County, their Board of Supervisors have adopted a resolution that they don't support it or they want to ban it. Of course, the Arizona Game and Fish Department is and the commission are the authority on this. But these people from a group called Project Coyote are going to these Board of Supervisors and cities and making presentations about these coyote hunting contests and why they want them banned. The Arizona Game and Fish Department is currently reviewing a possible rule on this. And I know in Mojave County, we have a lot of hunters in this county, and then we have a lot of predator hunters. And I'm just thinking that would that not be appropriate for us to look at this situation? I have a slide presentation that I could present, and then if it was approved or whatever, then we could forward it on to the board for their consideration. So they get both sides of this, because when they get this, they're going to get blindsided. And they're only going to get one side. And I just think that because we are a Public Lands and Recreation Commission, that's recreation. And I just feel that that's something that maybe this commission should look into, because it's going to affect Mojave County. That's for sure.
I think
Chairman
Mr.
Smith?
Go
May I
ahead.
say something?
Go ahead.
Okay. This commission was put together, and it was a pretty small window of the types of things that we could talk about. I'm not adverse to it, but I don't think we can do it until we would put it back in front of the Board of Supervisors. Am I correct on that, Hal?
That is correct, Supervisor Angus.
And that's my,
Right. So if there are issues that you want us to expand the authority that this board has, let's do it. But I just don't want to start doing it until the rest of the board is on, has heard about it and votes on it.
Chairman, if I may add, Chairman Angus is correct. There's a specific purpose for which this commission was created. The Board of Supervisors created it. They're the ones that have the authority to create this commission. And so we would not be able to go beyond those parameters that they have established. And And I respect, I respect Mr. Martin here. Absolutely, it's an interesting discussion, but it's something that this commission would not have the authority to do. We would have to have the Board of Supervisors authorize this commission to do that. So,
I wanted to say, I'd understand that we do have to get the Board of Supervisors to expand any of the purview of the commission here. And we are very narrowly defined as being working on the travel management plan. But I do agree that we should consider expanding what we look at in a lot of ways. I had some different things in mind. I've been contacted by private property owners who would like to talk to us about ways that they can address issues they have with off-roading, that some of them are in favor and some of them against. But we have a lot of issues that do affect the off-road community and public lands and private lands in the county. And this is a valuable group of people. I think we should be able to use the combined knowledge that we have here for more than just what we've done with the TMP, although what we've done with the TMP is pretty good, and I think everybody on the group should be congratulated.
May I ask Ryan, what's the procedure for making something like that happen?
I'd have to double check on the bylaws, but I believe it's going to come through the Board of Supervisors. So any of the supervisors could put it on the board agenda, and then the supervisors would debate it and vote upon it at the Board of Supervisor meeting. So Chairman Angus, you could put it on the board's agenda, or any of the other 4 supervisors could do it.
Can I make a suggestion?
Sure.
If everybody could send their ideas of the things they'd like to expand this commission to Hal, then I'll work with Hal to put it into an agenda format that I think that maybe that the board might approve. I'm just trying to see how we can organize it legally and quickly.
Does everybody agree to that? That sounds like a good idea. I like that. Each person individually send your suggestions.
I think that's a good.
It's just, we can't do a motion to approve that. That's the way you do it. We're just kind of instructing you that it's always a good idea to talk with Chairman Angus. Oh, not as a quorum. Can't do that as a quorum. But
Right.
I certainly think the information that Chairman Angus has provided is good. It's possible. Let's put it that way.
I think, Ryan, to add to that, members of the commission, I would recommend that you would address it with the board member that appointed you, and maybe give it a request in writing, ask it, then that board member then would agendize it on the Board of Supervisors. At that point, it would be up to the board to decide if they want to go that direction, and if they do, then we would have to revise the bylaws and had the bylaws then approved by the Board of Supervisors.
I would think that was probably the proper process. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. But at today's agenda will not allow us to make an agreement or vote upon that or anything like that.
No.
Yeah. It's kind of drifted off of what the discussion for item 3 is, but yes, those are very good, valid points, and I think that I agree with, we do need to look at this as a commission and follow the guidelines as been put out. But if we get back to our initial discussion and possible action for our regular meetings, do we have any further discussion on that, or a motion, or?
One question, I'm pretty sure it's pretty simple. If there were some movement with the TMP that came in between a quarterly meeting, we would be able to have a special meeting, right? We could get that scheduled, however that rolls, if it has to go to the Board of Supervisors, but that could happen.
No.
Actually, that would not have to go to the Board of Supervisors. It would just have to be properly noticed as a special meeting and follow the open meeting law for that.
Yeah, like we did when we first got formed, we had a lot of meetings in a short period of time there, and it worked out real well. Yes, we can always call, properly done, a special meeting.
I'd like to move that we adopt the resolution to move, have the bylaws changed to meet every 3 months, at least until, as long as the travel management plan is inactive.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second that.
And a second. Any further discussion?
If I could add for discussion, Commissioner Spots, it's got to be a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors that the Public Lands Recreation Commission is recommending to the board that they would like to go to quarterly meetings.
That was my intent. It may not have been the words that came out of my mouth. That's where I was going, yes.
So you're letting, or having Mr. Barton amend your, or you're amending your own motion to reflect that?
Yes. What he said.
And Chairman will need a second.
And do we have a second?
I second it.
Second? Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Chairman Smith, I would note that the next quarterly meeting would be in July. However, I'm just, the clerk of the board is showing me the calendar and stated we're July 4th is the first Thursday. And so we would need to decide then move it, what, to the 3rd or?
No. I move it to the next week.
Move it back a week. Yeah.
The 11th.
Okay, it's been suggested that we, if this is approved by the board, that our next meeting will be the 11th of July. Everybody agree with that?
Agreed.
Does anybody have anything further or any comments from any of the other members?
Make a motion that we close the meeting.
Motion to close, second,
I'll second that.
meeting adjourned.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you, Hildy.
Toby Angus has left